Hello, welcome to my video about making a game. My name is Karam, and I'll be the owner of the fucking... Okay, let's begin. So today, it'll be basics. I've already got a program, a new thing set up. There's a few sprites, which are just images. This will be the guy. He's standing in this sprite. He's walking in this one. See? Then there is a floor, and that's it. That's all we're going to be doing today. And then we have the basic room right here. Nothing's in it just yet. Just a blue background. First thing you want to do, this is for Gamemaker 1.4 by the way. If you have Unity or anything else, I'm sure it's pretty similar. This is for 2D game development by the way. So I don't know if it's going to apply anywhere else. So you want to right click on objects, hit create object. You want to name it. Let's call this guy obj is the prefix for organization underscore Joseph Cannoli, and we'll give him a sprite. We'll make him standing here, right? Keep his depth 0, visible, yeah. You don't want to use solid or physics. Persistent, I'll get to that later. But for right now, just keep these blank. We go into Realm, we hit Objects, get an object, stick him right here, and then boom, we're ready to play. You hit the little start button, give it a hot minute, and boom, look at that. That looks fantastic. But it doesn't, it looks like shit, and you can't really play it yet. So we're gonna exit out of that, go to Global Game Settings, and fix a few things. We want to turn this on. Just ignore this for now. But if you notice, he looks like shit. So if you're making a pixel game, you want to turn off interpolation for pixels. That's like a small thing. I'm sure it's in Unity or whatever the hell you want to use. But you want to turn off this if you're using a pixel style game. Let's go back and see how it looks real quick. Look at that. Crisp as day. 1440p. That's incredible. That looks fantastic. Next up, we want to make him do stuff. We want to add an event here. This is a pretty elaborate events box. It says 12 options with this drop down. So you can do a step event, collision, and then there's like a whole myriad of other things too. Right now though, we just want to add a step event. A step event runs whatever code you put inside it once per rotation. So if you're running on a 60 hertz machine, that means it'll run 60 times a second in orders. If you say code 1, it'll execute code 1, then code 2, then code 3, etc. It's not going to go 1, 2, it's not going to go 1, 3, 2, or 3, 2, 1. It'll always go up to bottom. Yeah. So let's call this one, by the way, doing this means a comment. That means whatever you write inside here doesn't mean anything. You could say EB bubba, you can say that if you want, you can call it that, but we're not going to call it that. You can do this. If you have 3 though, that names the event. See? It names the event that. So let's call this one main. Right? Look at that. Beautiful. Now let's add some code. So, how do we want the guy to move? Do we want him to follow the cursor? Do we want him to do keyboard control? Let's do keyboard for now. Let's say if you hold down, if A is held down, go left. If D, oh shit, if D is held down, go right. And that's it. So what we want to do here, we want to do an if statement. If statement means that if this condition here is met, then you run this following code. It doesn't run every single time, only if this condition is met. So let's say if keyboard check, that means this function right here means that if the button is held down, right? If keyboard check, so ignore this. This means A. If keyboard check A is held down, so if you're holding down A, then let's do move left. Notice there's no code here yet. We're just doing comments out. Same thing. If we want to go right, move right. So this is not going to do anything yet. You'll hit A, but no code's actually going to run. So let's do this. We can adjust movement by two ways, either by adjusting the x coordinate, or let's say only for horizontal now. You can move the x coordinate, or you can change the horizontal speed. Changing the x coordinate will make him kind of, I mean, there's no wrong way to do it, I guess, but traditionally you'd want to change the h speed. If your h speed equals 1, that means every single hertz, which would be, for us, since I'm running on a 60 hertz machine, 60 times a second. That would mean every single step event, you'd be running 1 pixel to the right. This would be 1 pixel to the left. Right is positive, left is negative. So if we want to go, I don't know, 2 to the right every time we hold down, or sorry, if we want to go 2 to the left every time we hold down A, we'll do h speed equals -2. Here, we'll do the opposite. If we want to go 2 to the right, holding down D, we'll hold down, yeah. Let's begin and see what happens. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that. It's fantastic. Now an issue I'm seeing here is that whenever I let go of A or D, he keeps moving. You want to know why that is? Because the h speed is never ever being reset back to 0. If I hold down A for a split second and then h speed is -2, then I let go, h speed will still be -2, right? So there's two ways to combat this. I can either say h speed equals 0 at the beginning, and that means if none of these are held down, it'll be 0. But then if you hold down any of these, it'll be overwritten, right? It'll be h speed 0, hold down A, go left 2. You could also do an else event. You could do else, or you could do else this, and then else h speed equals 0. An else if statement means if this is happening, if A is held down, do this. Else, if D is held down, do this. Else, if neither of these two are true, just do this. This means that if you're holding down A, it's never going to run this code. It's going to say if you're holding down A and D, you'll always be moving left, right? That's not exactly what we want. So for the sake of this shit, let's do else if you're holding down A and you're holding down D. No, that's too complex. We'll just do this for now. Shit. Let's do this. So that means it's h speed 0 at the very beginning. And whenever you hold down any of these two shits, either if you hold down A, it'll be overwritten. Hold down D, it'll be overwritten. Let's see if that works. Moment of truth. And boom, look at that. Holding down D, letting go. Holding down A, letting go. Holding down D. Now an issue if I hold down both, it'll go to D, because if you remember, D is at the bottom. So even though I'm holding down A and h speed is -2, this code still runs afterwards, and then it just will overwrite it, and then h speed will come to, you see, boom, bop, bing, bop, 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 boom. Now, let's call this movement actually, because I want to get to a different section. Next up, let's do visuals. I didn't make two sprites, the character stand and character walk, for no reason. Let's do visuals. If h speed is not equal to 0, then sprite underscore index equals SPR character walk. You know what this means? If your character is still, if your character is not still, that means his speed is not 0, then make his sprite walk. But what will happen if you start walking and then you stop walking afterwards? This will not be updated. This is going to stay as walking like we had a second ago. Just watch here. See, he's doing that. It's a bit fast, but we'll fix that in a second too. So what we want to do here is that before, we want to go sprite index equals SPR underscore character stand. So this means that before this code runs, it's always being set to stand. So if your speed is not 0, then it's going to overwrite it. So let's try that. It's still going to be fast as hell, but just ignore that for a second. Boom. Oh shit. Oh wait. What the Fuck. Oh shit, okay. That's a complicated thing that I messed up. I'm not gonna explain why that happened. But instead, just do this. Okay. This should do it instead. What happened in layman's terms, let me see if this fixes it. Yeah, okay. See? Boom, bop, bim, bop, bop, boom. So what happened here is that this thing only has one image. See, only one little picture. Shit, fuck you. But this one has two. See, it goes 1, 2. If I want to make it the first one, I would say image index equals 0. That means that I want the first one. If I want the second one, I'd say image index equals 1. But Karam, you may ask, what if you say image index equals 2? Well then, it's going to loop back around and go back to the first one. So it's only 1. Sorry, it's going to go 0, 1, 2. If you say 3, it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? It goes back and forth between the ones that are among it. So what happened here is that I was limiting it to having, I was forcing it to be image index 0 every single time. And so this one wasn't like updating. It was stuck on just like the first frame, like that. Well, just ignore that for now. But yeah, the image thing is basically like sprite index and image whatever, sprite whatever. The prefixes those mean that it's gonna be based off of the visual shit. Now let's fix the speed though. I'm gonna say image speed equals 1. The base thing is 1, right? So instead of making it 1, let's make it 1/2. Let's see if half the speed looks good. Probably not gonna look good, but we'll see. This can be half speed. Boom. Still kind of fast. Let's say 1/8. I think this will be better. Look at that. Look at that. It's incredible. Look at that fucking piece. Look at that. Okay. Now, if you notice, if you look real closely, he's always looking to the right. What if he's looking left? I mean, like, what if he's walking left? It's like, what the fuck, you know? It's like, fuck this guy. So what we want to do here is if A is held down, then image x scale equals -1. If D is held down, image x scale equals 1. X scale, if you want to read the documentation, is like this. This is the original sprite right here. If you make image x scale 0.5, it's going to squish it by a factor of 0.5, so the width will be half of the original width. If you make it negative, it's going to inverse it entirely over the y-axis. It'll be flipped, see? So that's what we're doing. If you hold down A, it'll be backwards. If you hold down D, it'll be forwards. And so that should make our guy look where he's walking. Look at that motherfucker. Look at him go. Boom, bop, bam, boom, bop, boom, bop, bam. Look at that. That's incredible. Next up. No, that's it.